Yo, yo, yo. You're listening to the North Shore 9 podcast presented by FanDuel. This is Bucco Brew. I'm Anthony DiNardo. That's Jim Rosati. Welcome, Jim. It is baseball season.
Yeah, Super Bowl Monday, day after the Super Bowl. No more football. Yeah, baseball's right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report in 2 days.
Awesome. I'm excited. And it's warming up for me. It's going to be mid-70s all week. I am excited.
Yeah, it's getting warm here too. I think it's supposed to be in the 50s today, so hopefully that melts the remaining snow on the ground that's been here for a few weeks. But yeah, spring is in the air. The warmth is coming back. I love it.
Amen. But how about that Super Bowl? Patriots lost. That's all I really care about. The Patriots lost.
It was an absolutely boring game. Like,
I agree, but the Patriots lost.
Patriots had no business even being there. They were just a bad team that got into a good situation on their way into the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, I bet a lot of money that the Seahawks were going to cover the spread because I was pretty confident. And yeah, that happened. So thank you, FanDuel.
Love it. Love it. But yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, pitchers and catchers report this week. So like real things are about to start happening, opposed to the fake things like Ben Cherington and the Pittsburgh Pirates being on free agents and trade chips, which we have more to talk about today.
Yeah, still a couple of rumors floating out there. I mean, every time Ben Cherington has gotten in front of a microphone over the last month, which isn't often, but every time he's continued to say that he wants to add players to this team. So far, we haven't really seen much. We did get the José Urquidy signing last week, so we can, I guess, talk about that a little bit. We'll dive into some pitchers and catchers stuff towards the second half of this show, so we can throw Urquidy in there. But José Urquidy's in the mix. Clevenger signs a minor league deal. I wouldn't really read too much into that. I don't know what he's going to do exactly, but yeah, there's still a couple of bats out there. And the Pirates are linked to at least two people that I know of, whether it's a free agent or a trade. So, yeah, we'll see. And Kutch is still out there, too. He put out a video yesterday basically saying that he's not done.
That video was fire.
It was.
Just take any messaging meaning, just anything, whoever created that video, just props, because that was a just amazing video. It gave me the chills.
Yeah, it was a good video.
Right. So yes, we have a lot to talk about today. And before we do, as always, let's tell you about our sponsor of today's show. As always, DeFair Coffee and Tea is a family and employee owned and operated business. They believe that coffee and tea are one of life's simplest and most accessible pleasures, and when enjoyed thoughtfully, can open your eyes to the here and now. They have 5 locations across the city of Pittsburgh, including their flagship in the heart of Pittsburgh's historic Strip District. Don't forget to stop by DeFair's new location downtown on Penn Avenue, right across from the Benedum. Grab a cup and fuel up on your walk to PNC Park. Mobile ordering is available. Check out their Instagram for more details. Of course, the website is defair.coffee. And when you go there, Jim, tell everyone once again how they can save 30%.
Yeah, go to defair.coffee, load up your cart, put in promo code NS930. That's NS930 into the promo code field there, and you'll get 30% off your order.
Boom. 30%, baby. NS930. Get yourself some DeFair coffee and tea. It's warm. So, what do you want to talk about first, Jim?
Let's talk about Marcel Ozuna.
Okay. Another DH.
Yeah, he's I guess if you are looking at the free agency market and you're looking for somebody who could qualify as that quote unquote impact bat, right? Like he's like the only guy left who could fit that description. DH only. He's not in the field. So that's what kind of makes this a little bit of a weird situation is if you sign him, it means Ryan O'Hearn's an everyday outfielder. It means maybe Brian Reynolds scoots back over to left field even. So and then it means Jake Mangum's probably your fourth outfielder, which probably a
That
pretty
part's okay.
role for him. Yeah, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, there continues to be some noise here. I usually don't talk about like stuff on Twitter that I've from people I've never heard of before. But I do want to point out, and now you haven't even know this, but over the evening, there's a guy out of the Dominican Republic who seems to be a radio host, Jansen Pujols. This guy
Okay.
he has 173,000 followers on Twitter. His YouTube page gets tens of thousands of views every show. He's had Marcel Ozuna on his show. He has major league players from the Dominican Republic on his show all the time. So I'm just going to say what it says here. 5 hours ago, he said that things are looking good. Hopefully they get a deal done soon. This is regarding the Pittsburgh Pirates and Marcel Ozuna. And then an hour ago, he tweeted out that they just told him that Marcel Ozuna and the Pirates have made progress in their negotiations for a one-year deal. The parties are close to an agreement. So take that for what it is. Jansen Pujols. I don't know him. Buster Olney follows him. Jim Bowden follows him. And yeah, like
North Shore 9 now follows him.
His YouTube page is he has had Marcel Ozuna on his show multiple times. So I don't know. I don't know what that means, but the Pirates, I think in Ozuna, there's clearly some interest there, if anything. So like if it's Ozuna, that's a nice bat. I'm not a huge fan of the guy. I don't think we need to go into that, but it's a nice bat. It does put your defense in a little bit of a tricky situation. And then it also puts your relationship with Kutch kind of on the fritz as well. But yeah, take that for what it is.
Seals the deal.
Jansen Pujols. That's what he's saying early today.
That stuff's interesting. I'm going to look more into his page because, I mean, like you're mentioning, there's some validity to him. So it's not just like if rando on Twitter.
Right. I wasn't sure if like this. It's not just some random guy. So it is a person who has some sources, I'm sure, based off of what I'm reading. So
now with that said, like I'm with you, and we discussed this to some level with Ty on NS9 Live or maybe a Sicko Sound Off, I forget, but it's not a good fit. Like the problem with this team heading into this offseason is they needed bats. You find them where you can get them and figure it out later. That's kind of like the motto, right? Because you're not going to, this is the Pittsburgh Pirates. They don't have their choice. It's not like we're going to get that guy, and call it an offseason. No, they're going to sit on their hands and knees and praying and begging, hey, please come here. Hey, please come here. And for the ones that say yes, then they figure it out. And that one person was Ryan O'Hearn. Everyone else came through trade. But again, like adds to that clog we're talking about some. So like adding Marcel Ozuna to this lineup, it makes the lineup better. Like you mentioned, like that bat, that's legit. That makes this team, this lineup better, this offense better. But it just makes the roster construction compounded. Like, where does he fit? Then where does everyone else fit? And like you mentioned, like that's like I think the difference between Kutch and Ozuna. When we say bring back Kutch, we feel he can maybe play the field a little bit. Ozuna can't. Now you can argue Kutch can't either. I mean, that's fine. That's an argument. That's a fair argument. We do believe that he could probably play the field once a week or so. So that helps him out. But also, like, he's coming in as a part-time player. Like, you're not bringing in Kutch to be the full-time DH. You're bringing him to be a part-time player. Face lefties the majority of his time. Ozuna, you're bringing in to be a full-time player. So he's there at DH, which means it's no longer like Spencer Horwitz, Ryan O'Hearn, Brian Reynolds on the right side, DH implementing at the right side. this imaginary position on the field. That's now like you're mentioning Ozuna. So like, then where does Ryan Hearn fit? He's playing a position that he really doesn't play now. Like he was a first baseman who, of course, bat plays well enough to play DH, but you have Spencer Horwitz as well, who's a first baseman, and they both of them are good defensively at first base. So you're putting somebody in a position that they are not really good in, and you already look at the outfield, and hey, everyone loves to complain about O'Neal Cruz, and we've seen how Brian Reynolds has trended the past few years. So like now the defense in the outfield is just getting really, really bad, and that's the thing that excites you about Mangum. Like you come in here, he provides really good defense, that left field, like that can use that. And now you're going to replace that with Ronald Hearn. I'm not saying like it's a bad replacement. What I'm just saying, talking about is like, yes, the Ozuna fit makes his team's defense take a hit. Now, is the trade-off worth it? For that bat? I mean, probably so. If this is like, when we did discuss this, like you have to find ways to get bats in and then you figure it out. And that's kind of what they're doing here. It's just, again, like it's just not a perfect fit. That's why the true like third baseman made sense. Like, go get those guys. Well, you missed out on all of them. So here we are trying to plug circles into square pegs.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that like it doesn't really fit. The bat certainly fits. Like it's what the lineup is looking for. The lineup's looking for a right-handed hitter who preferably has some power, and that's exactly who he is. He's going to be 35 years old this season. He is coming off a little bit of a down year where he was injured, but even in his down year, 755 OPS, 114 weighted runs created plus. He had 21 homers. He's a year removed from a 154 weighted runs created plus season and 39 homers. He's 2 years removed from 140 weighted runs created plus and 40 homers. So, I mean, he's a guy who hasn't really it is possible that this is the start of that downswing. Like, that's always possible. But he's also not, like, that old. He's still 35, and if he's a DH only, like, maybe that extends his career longer. So, yeah, I mean, from a fit standpoint, offensively, he fits the lineup really, really well. And, yeah, but it probably means that O'Hearn is now moving into right field all the time. Brian Reynolds moves back to left. And that's your out. Like, that's a rough outfield. Like, you're gonna have to rely on O'Neal Cruz to cover a lot of ground there. It's not that Brian Reynolds is slow by any means, but his reaction time is some of the worst in baseball, according to Statcast. And O'Hearn isn't necessarily going to cover a ton of grass. So yeah, it definitely puts a lot of pressure on O'Neal Cruz. If you do this, maybe Jake Mangum being in there as late inning replacements helps kind of towards the end of games, and to kind of spell some of the other guys. But yeah, I mean, take it for what it's worth. And we've heard a few people mention how the Pirates are in on Ozuna. He is the best possible bat you could probably acquire at this point.
Yeah, 100%. Now, there's also some smoke about a trade.
There is.
For a third baseman. That makes some sense. But of course, with most guys, especially at this age, the stage in off season, there's some warts here. Isaac Paredes. Now, he's been a really good hitter. He's been a very good player. However, when you look at his skill set, when we look at his bat profile, and you line up with PNC Park, that's not the sexiest. That's really not the ballpark you want to fit him into, right? You're going to say, hey, I want to take this player out and put him in the one ballpark that's going to be really, really good at. It's the one that he's going to be leaving. It's going to be the Houston Astros, right? And if you're going to look at the one ballpark that, like, I probably don't want to put him in because it's going to hurt him the most, it's PNC Park. So there's a lot of controversy over him because, like, does he actually make an improvement? Because he will be going to the Pirates who play at PNC Park. And, well, Jim, if you look at his Baseball Savant page, you see blue bubbles. So blue bubbles mean no good, Jim. Stay away from blue bubbles.
There's some blue bubbles.
Hashtag analytics.
There's some red bubbles too. I mean, there's a little bit of both. I think this is where I stand with Paredes. You acquire him if you can get you don't want to be trading for the guy who has an 810 OPS, right? Like, because he's only really going to do that in a couple of spots. Pittsburgh's not one of those spots. According to StatCast, he had 20 homers last year. If he would have played in PNC Park, he gets 11. So he essentially cuts his homer total in half. Now, 81 games aren't played at PNC Park, though, right? So take that for what it's worth as well. So you think, a 20 homer season, it doesn't go down to an 11 homer season. It goes down to a 15 or 16 homer season, which is still significantly better than what you've been getting out of the third base position. I look at this as, I feel like a lot of people when they're
Can I give
they
you
see,
a little bit of pause here as well?
yeah,
Because I also
yeah,
want to put some context to that. That was also in just 102 games played.
yeah,
So
two-thirds.
extrapolate that over like 100, like a full season, which he's pretty much done all of his career. I mean, it's not that long of a career, but that's also not just 17 home runs if it's a full season.
Yeah. I think people, whenever they're talking about Paredes, they're looking at it a little bit wrong. Like, it's not a matter of like, who would you rather have start at third base? It's not, would you rather have Triolo or would you rather have Paredes? It's really, would you rather have Triolo at third and Gonzalez at short, or would you want Paredes at third and Triolo at short? Because I think that's what we're talking about here. I don't think I don't think we should be comparing Paredes to Triolo necessarily, because honestly, you put Triolo at third base over the course of an entire season, his defense is really good. He's probably giving you 3 WAR. I mean, we've seen it. We saw it with Cabrian Hayes. We saw it with Triolo. Like, yeah, there's going to be stretches where Triolo looks awful, and then there might be some stretches in there where he looks good. But I think that's the wrong conversation to have, is don't compare Paredes to Triolo. Who would I rather have? I think the conversation here is like, would you rather have Paredes in this lineup than Nick Gonzalez? And I think the
Correct.
answer to that question, at least for me, is absolutely. I think he's an upgrade there, and I think you push Triolo to shortstop, and then when Connor Griffin's ready, it doesn't kind of force you to put Connor Griffin on this opening day lineup either. Which, hey, if he's forcing the issue, then by all means just force the issue. But it doesn't force you to be like, all right, well, Connor Griffin, you're the guy at 19 years old. It doesn't force you to make that decision. So what I'm curious about here, though, is it seems like the Astros are asking for a lot here. And to be honest, like, they should.
Right.
Because he's a perfect fit for this team, for the Astros, I mean. Like, the best version of Isaac Paredes is a Houston Astro. He lifts the ball in the air to the pull side. Like, the best place to do that is Houston. So yeah, like, if you're Houston and you want to acquire this guy, you've got to pay me like you're acquiring an 800 plus OPS third baseman. The issue is, once he goes somewhere, that's not who he is. So, yeah, it's going to be weird. I don't know. The one spot that kind of concerns me is his, he had limited time in Chicago and he was not a good hitter there, right? But I think over a course of a season, it's still worth adding that bat. Like, if you can get Paredes for not giving up a whole lot, like if you can go Joey Bart and a prospect, then I think you do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to add in a few things here. And again, just double down. I've been hammering. Like, you need to stop looking at this, like you mentioned, Triolo versus Paredes or Triolo versus anyone. And it's, would you rather have that person plus Triolo or Triolo and Gonzalez? Like, who makes you better? And yes, Paredes and Triolo makes his team better. So absolutely. And I just think like the whole PNC Park thing is overblown. And I want to stress it's true. I'm not saying you're factually incorrect. What I am saying is he doesn't turn into a complete pumpkin because he's no longer with Houston, that he's like going to be this below average hitter that provides no value. And but Triolo probably could be better than him. Stop it. Stop it. Stop looking at blue bubbles and just saying, oh, this guy's going to be really, really bad. Understand some things, put some context to it. Learn a little bit more about what the bubbles mean and whatnot. And not just like, oh, there's a blue bubble, so he's not going to be good. And he pulls stuff. And Savant says it'll be 11 home runs. So that's just it. There's 11 home runs. Because all 162 is played at PNC Park. When this dude played away last year, when he was outside, and I'm calling it Minute Maid Park because screw whatever it is now. It's Minute Maid Park. But when he was away, I'll start with the home. When he was in Houston, the best ballpark you could imagine for him. 249 batting average, 354 on base, 481 slugging, good for a 134 weighted runs created plus. That's a really good hitter, Jim. And since he's only good at home, and that ballpark, which plays to his strengths, he clearly was terrible away, right? I mean, right? The blue bubbles would say so, Jim, right?
Oh, sounds like you're about to tell us.
Well, when he was away from the best ballpark that suited him and all the other ballparks, 259, 349, 434, good for a 122 weighted runs created plus. Jim, would that be the best hitter on the Pittsburgh Pirates last year?
Yes.
Okay, I'm done. Done. Oh, wait, there's more. He hasn't played at Minute Maid Park his entire career, Jim. He's had a whole entire career of playing baseball in 566 games. And what has he done every single year outside? Let's just say before he turned 23 years of age, very limited time. He's never had a season of less than 115 weighted runs created plus. He's a hitter. This guy does not strike out. He makes good contact. The guy also gets on base. Double-digit percentage walk rate every single year. Every single year under a 20% K rate. This guy is a hitter. For all the reasons you like Ryan O'Hearn and Spencer Horwitz. And I know the profile is different. They're not pull hit heavy like he is in a sense. But what I'm saying, though, is like they're just hitters. This guy's also just a hitter. He makes contact with the baseball. He does good things with it. He does hit away. He does hit home. I think we're just creating this complete narrative that he is going to be the most basic, worthless hitter when he comes to the Pittsburgh Pirates and just be part of the problem they have. No, like that. No. So those 11 home runs he hits in Pittsburgh, that's the 20. How many of those are also doubles in spacious left field? Stop it. But Jim, when you look at Paredes' time at PNC Park, he's played there, Jim.
Yeah, I was just about
he's
to bring
played there. 41 plate appearances. He's a 200, 317, 543 hitter. He's bad at PNC Park with a 200 batting average. But wait, he had 4 home runs in the 41 plate appearances. How can that happen? He can't hit home runs in PNC Park. Oh, you're right, Jim.
In 9 games, 4 home runs at PNC.
Right. And since he went to Chicago and was so bad there, yeah, I know, Jim, his 104 plate appearances. We're taking the smallest sample size to create this whole narrative on a player who's done nothing but been a good player / hitter. Because we're just trying to find ways to make this guy as a terrible player. It's dumb. It's stupid. Stupid. In honor of Bad Bunny, a stupido. Stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say there aren't a little. As I said, my concern with Paredes isn't necessarily that he's going to come over here and be bad. My concern is that I don't think you're going to be getting an 800 plus OPS guy.
No.
I think you get a 750 guy. But guess what? That's like
the best hitter on the Pirates.
Yeah, that's a good hitter. So if he's available to you and you can get him without costing your major league team a whole lot or anything at all, then I think you you've got to get it done. Like you've got to add more bats to this lineup. And quite honestly, like I mean, if in a week from now we're talking about this team has added Ozuna and Paredes,
Who?
then like the conversation completely shifts to like this is an 80 win team, an 81 win team. We're kind of right on the bubble there. Like you start looking at this lineup and it's legit. Like
Yeah.
straight up, it's legit. The catcher position is then really your only real like big weakness, catcher and shortstop.
But you assume at some point that shortstop's going to turn into a strength.
You
assume.
You assume.
Yeah.
You hope.
But you're right. But that again, that puts some context, this picture of like, yeah, like it's really just the catcher, and that's a good thing. So I'm with you. I am 100% with you. The one thing that does worry about the Paredes trade, and that's why, again, like when the Suarez free agent signing happened, you know, it got us a little in the feels here, got us a little on alert because what's he going to command? You talked about Bart and a prospect. Does a Hunter Barco fall under the level of prospect? I mean, he is technically a prospect, right? And the thing that worries me about the trades now, right, is the fact that you're now taking away from the major league talent that you need this year. So you mentioned this lineup that now looks good, but the strength of this team was backed on starting pitching and how good it was going to be. And there's now potentially 3 pitchers plucked from this rotation this year. And that's a lot of depth and potential quality. Now, I think Oviedo, Burrows, you kind of saw what they could be. Hunter Barco is a lot of unknown to him, you know, whatnot, but like that's talent there. And that's come from your strength. And now you turn this strength into a weakness in sense of depth for sure. I mean, there's still top end talent there. There's the guys that are there are still talented and, you know, have good arms, but you've plucked 3 from that. Does that hurt you now? And that's why like these, I'll welcome a praise for a trade, but also like it's going to sting, I feel, and I'm not sure I'm prepared for that sting.
Yeah, I mean, a Barco would certainly cut into the depth quite a bit. Like I don't think Barco's going to start in the majors this year, but like Barco's probably your first guy up at this point. So when if you remove Barco from the equation, then that changes things. I think I would still do the deal if Barco like has to be the guy. I wouldn't feel great about it, but I think like it's still something like you would just have to do it, and then figure out a way to find that starting pitching depth another way. I mean, there's still plenty of minor league free agents out there that you could sign. Like, and I'm not talking about minor league free agents. I'm talking about free agents with major league experience that you could probably sign to minor league deals, and who could be a capable 6th or 7th starter if you need them a few times through the rotation. So I wouldn't love it, but like if you have to do it, then like I said, you've got to add more bats to this lineup. And if that's the way to do it, then you do it.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer to give up more of like a lower level pitching prospect that doesn't like hurt you in 2026, but you might not be able to.
And that's the problem. So yeah, I'm not ready to stamp if I'm going to be okay or not with it yet, because I'm not ready to say that yet, but I just know like that's not ideal for this team. And that's why a free agent where only thing you're giving up is financial capital, then that's better. Because, you know, if it was like you're mentioning true prospects, like this team can just absolutely afford to give up prospects, but this is in the territory of like this air quotes prospect was looked upon to help this team in 2026 compete and go somewhere. And that's not what we're trying to entertain. Now, one of them, fine, but 3 guys that were kind of stamping to help you out for this rotation this year, that's a lot. But I do like Paredes. I do like the fit, even if it's not the perfect fit, you know, for PNC Park. I like him as a fit on this roster. and the way it'd be constructed then, because now you did fill that hole at third base. Triolo does now become your shortstop until Connor Griffin's ready, and then he slides into that super utility role, which I think he just again can flourish at. So there you have it.
There you have it. Pitchers and catchers report in 48 hours, Wednesday, February 11th.
It's a glorious day.
We are 2 days away from, I guess, do we want it? This whole beat writer situation, can we just kind of say real quick, it sucks. Post-Gazette shutting down sucks. MLB.com, restructuring, Alex no longer being there, that sucks. One of my favorite times of the year is like all the beat writers going into spring training and pulling out their iPhones and posting these iPhone videos, which technology's gotten a lot better since the start of Twitter. But like the best was like back in like 2010 when you'd have people uploading flip phone videos to Twitter, and it'd be like Paul Maholm, like the outline, the shady outline of Paul Maholm throwing an 89 mile an hour sinker to,
and we ate
Ryan
it all up,
and it was like, oh man, give me more of this stuff. Now it's come a long way, but that's like my favorite part of pitchers and catchers reporting is just like you get all the videos from all the reporters who are you get the pop of the glove, you get to see guys throwing their bullpens. So yeah, we get to see that in 2 days right now. I can't wait. Love it. Absolutely love this time of year. So pitchers and catchers are reporting on Wednesday. The rotation right now still has some question marks. I don't know who right now that number 5 starter is. There's currently, I'm sure, a competition based off of the people who are reporting to camp. I think there may still be a couple, maybe there's another minor league free agency deal out there to add someone else in the mix. Maybe there's another major league deal to add someone else in the mix. But, as of right now, that number 5 starter, you're probably looking at José Urquidy, who they just signed last week, certainly being in the mix there. You're probably looking at Carmen Mlodzinski being in the mix for that spot. And you're probably looking at Hunter Barco being in the mix for that spot, like as things stand right now. Like those are probably the 3 guys who like realistically have a chance. And maybe the solution's a mixture of the 3, like with piggybacking and such. But yeah, I mean, as of right now, the way the roster stands, like that 5th starter role is completely up in the air.
I agree, but I think ideally today, as all things stand today, ideally you want Carmen Mlodzinski in that bullpen role that he also flourishes in. And you probably want Hunter Barco to start off in the minor leagues, which is why you're trying to bring in a 5th starter. So I think right now it's Urquidy, sorry. But I also want to say this. I have this feeling the Pirates aren't wanting to go they're still. I don't look at this as like that solved the 5th starter. I feel like they still probably want to go out and get another pitcher to be the 5th starter. Is that how you take it as well, or do you feel like this is the major league signing?
I feel like there's got to be another one. I'm not very comfortable with José Urquidy in my rotation right now. He hasn't pitched a lot. I mean, he's been injured, so there's that. He hasn't pitched a lot though in the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, this guy has 33 total innings pitched in the last 2 years. Sorry, 33 innings pitched across all levels in the last 2 years. And only 2 of those innings are in the major leagues. And they weren't good, but it was 2 innings. So yeah, I'm not completely comfortable handing a spot to this guy. Now, the good news here is like, he used to be good. Like there is at least historical evidence of José Urquidy being a major league starter. It's just, the last time he pitched in the majors wasn't great. So I'm
He
not
would make a great fifth starter for this team if he's healthy and back to where he was.
absolutely. Yeah, like if we're talking circa 2022 José Urquidy here, sign me up. Yeah. I just have no idea if he's that guy anymore. That was 4 years ago, and he basically hasn't pitched since then. So I don't know what to think with Jose Urquidy. I don't know if you're looking at him for just depth. I think ideally you are getting one more pitcher here in the mix, though, because I agree with you. I love Carmen Mlodzinski in that like swing man role where he can give you multiple innings. He can bridge the gap between the starter and the back end of the bullpen because you still have guys like Braxton Ashcraft and Bubba Chandler who aren't going to give you 7 innings every time out there because that's just not who they are at this point in their careers. So like you need someone to bridge the gap and Mlodzinski's that guy. Like he was awesome in that role last year.
For sure.
So I love Mlodzinski in the bullpen, but if you're saying, Jim, you've got to pick a fifth starter right now, I'm going Carmen Mlodzinski. Like he is the best guy for that role right now as the roster is currently constructed. But again, that leads us to why they probably need to get another guy. Yeah, because that is not the best spot for him.
And also back to the whole Paredes trade. Like again, you're taking Bucco out of the equation. So at this point in time, it's Mlodzinski or Urquidy. And
yeah.
Right. So I do think, like you mentioned, that's how I look at this also. You know, he gives they brought in Clevenger in the minor league deal. They brought him on the major league deal. And I feel like they're both looked at in almost like the same light as like what their role might be. It's depth. Maybe they're also like a bridge, a bullpen pitcher as well, like a Carmen Mlodzinski role. Maybe it's a fifth starter. I think there's some flexibility with both of those guys. Obviously, again, Clevenger's on a minor league deal, so you don't have to worry too much about him in that sense. But yes, I do believe that like this doesn't solve the fifth starter. They are still looking to acquire who the fifth starter is going to be.
John brings up a good point here too in the comments that it's also going to like the position battles are going to look weird this spring because like Jose Urquidy is seemingly fighting for a spot. He's not even going to be in camp a good chunk of this spring training. He's pitching on Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic. So, you know, that's just one of those. Like, it's just another thing you got to keep an eye on, like because you're not going to be able to see Jose Urquidy in spring training games, especially at the beginning half of the spring. So, hey, we're gonna have to watch some Team Mexico WBC games to see what's going on with Urquidy for a while.
Yeah. But either way, you know, it's an interesting name. So I welcome the signing. I have no problem with the signing at all. To me, again, this is one of those signings where you can't get upset about it. Can't really get overly excited about it. Like it's just a signing. There's some upside. It's limited. You know, I said it's like a low risk, low reward type signing to me. He's not going to go out there and become like, oh, if he can be vintage this, then there's a potential he can like help carry this rotation. It's like, oh, if he can be healthy and whatnot, he can be a fifth starter.
Yeah.
But that's what this team needs. So adds another arm. You always need to add more arms, especially this time of the year. They're going to start, you know, coming in. But I do hope that they go out there and find somebody else, you know, like the Jose Quintanas, the Tyler Andersons, like we keep talking about more and more, someone on those lines, still going to be affordable, but that's a guy that you can certainly plug in and feel good about being at your fifth starter.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised they aren't at least trying Mason Montgomery out in that role. I would, if it were me, I would at least try it. Like,
yeah,
but it seems like they're not doing that.
Yeah. Well, I know Mason also like kind of stamped on reliever. But again, that's just his mindset. Like he could easily say, like, hey, let's try you here. And I'm sure he'd welcome it. But I mean, again, like you're saying, that the stuff's nasty. Like that's a guy that has potential. If you can really harness this, like he could be a force possibly in the rotation. But I don't know. I'm kind of also okay with him being a reliever. Just go out there and be a really good reliever. It's like the Carmen Majinsky thing. Just go out there and do that role really, really well.
I agree. There's a ton of upside there that I at least like it. It makes me like at least want to try it, but I understand. I understand not.
All right.
Let's talk catchers real quick. It's a position we haven't really spent a ton of time at. But catchers also reporting with those pitchers. Henry Davis, Joey Bart for now, but there seems to be, I don't know, there seems to be Jason Mackey of the Post-Gazette is 100% convinced that Joey Bart is going to be traded before the start of the season. And I mean, he would make sense going to the Astros in a trade as, their backup. Like that would kind of make sense if they're looking for someone, to help their major league team. But you've got 4 catchers on the major league on the 40-man roster between Davis, Bart, Flores, and Endy. Endy hasn't played hardly at all in the last couple seasons just due to injury. So, this will be our first look at him in a while. I don't think there's any shot Endy Rodriguez makes this team. Do you?
No. It's not to like, oh, Endy, you're terrible. It's just like, then no, he needs to just get back into baseball.
Yeah.
I think being the AAA makes a whole lot of sense at this point in time for him.
Yeah, I think Endy's like a lock to be in AAA, regardless of what happens. Flores is the guy where, like, if Bart gets dealt, then like Flores and Davis are your catchers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Flores has any other path of making this team, though, unless Bart's traded.
I agree. Not the way it's constructed at this point in time. But, I mean, you're right about, Mackey and Bart. Tyler and I talked about this, and if I were to bet, I'm betting that he's on the opening day roster. I mean, things obviously can change. Paredes, Houston wants Bart, it sounds like, if that deal goes down. But I feel like if that deal doesn't go down, to me, like that's it. Like the Pirates might be looking, but I mean, let's go back to like last trade deadline. Like teams didn't look at Bart, like they didn't even value him as a catcher. It was like if we bring him, he's a bench bat. He's like a right-handed bench bat. That's how a lot of teams valued him in the trade market, and that's why he wasn't dealt at the trade deadline. So I don't foresee a whole lot of suitors or guys knocking on the door to get Joey Bart, in this offseason. It sounds like Houston's one and probably one of one. So if that trade doesn't happen, that's to me, it's like it's that trade or nothing for Joey Bart. He'll be on this roster. So, but let's just say it does. And again, it makes the team better. I do think you're right. It's going to be Flores and Henry Davis at this point in time, with Endy being in AAA. But again, like an ideal situation is that you probably want both of those in AAA. Again, I'm going to give up Joey Bart for a better bat somewhere, but like Joey Bart and Henry Davis kind of makes sense on this major league roster as far as catchers situation goes in a vacuum.
I think as things stand right now, like those are your clear top 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Good point from Hamilton here. He talks about Endy and like an outfield option. I kind of want to go back to seeing Endy as that just you can plug him anywhere kind of guy. I feel like he just brings a lot more value that way. And you're looking at a team where like we've kind of starved for people who can play in the outfield for one. So like if Endy can get back to hitting the way he was when he was the minor league player of the year, and he can play outfield for you every now and then all of a sudden, like Endy becomes this completely different guy on your 40-man that you can deploy in a myriad of ways. He kind of was thrusted into the first base position last year, which that's not the best fit for him. I think we can pretty much agree there. But like if he's catching and then he can maybe play some second base every now and then you could plug him into a corner outfield spot. Like if he can do that and hit a little bit, then all of a sudden that's how Endy kind of regains his value, because he is still just, I mean, what is he, 25 years old at this point?
As of today,
yeah,
he's 25. It'll be 26 end of May.
It's just like it's none of it's gonna matter though unless he can hit again.
So 100%, I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, that's what made the Hendy catcher tandem so deadly, because Henry Davis was going to hit. Obviously, he was going to hit, right? He's going to be a monster offensively. Can't really feel too much. And Endy is a good hitter, also can play everywhere. So that's how you find at bats for both of them. Well, neither of them have been good in the major leagues at all. So,
That
but
backfired.
but yeah, like that's where ND provides value, that versatility. I mean, the Varsho comp and the idea of it was, ND Rodriguez. He can play catcher, he can play second base, he can play first base, maybe put him in the outfield. You can kind of play all over the place and give you good defense. But the Jim, like the problem is in a league where he's had more than 5 games played, he hasn't been good offensively since 2022. That's a big gap. He's been injured in back-to-back seasons. We don't really know what he is, and maybe he doesn't even know what he is yet. So again, going back to the and again, yes, I want him utilized in that sense, but I just feel like it's best suited that he goes back to AAA and just become a baseball player again. Find yourself, get back into yourself, because he's not going to play every day. Even if he does make the major league team, he's not getting a whole lot of play time at the major leagues in doing so. So start off in AAA. Let's get Endy back. Let's get that dude back. Hopefully it's there, but that's where you're going to find it. And then let's progress you to the major leagues if it's deserved and there's a spot for him. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. The bullpen seems kind of set, to be honest. I don't even see too many battles here. Santana's in, Soto's in, Matson's in, Lawrence is in, Majinski's in. I guess there's a battle. Do you carry 2 lefties or 3 lefties with Montgomery and Sisk? Johan Ramirez is sitting there without any options, and they tendered him a contract. So you got to imagine that he's probably getting a job. And then your other guys on the 40-man, Benoit, Nicholas, Sanders, Harbin, those 4, I could see. I think a lot of it maybe depends on what happens with that 5th starter role. But if Majinski's that number 5 starter, does Urquidy go to the bullpen, or do you want to make sure Urquidy's a starter, so you put him as a starter in Indy, and that bumps up, Benoit, Nicholas, Sanders, or Harbin? I think if you're looking at guys like Nicholas is probably that next guy. If you're comparing Benoit, Nicholas, Sanders, Harbin, Nicholas is probably that next guy. I do really like Benoit, though, and I really like Harbin's stuff a lot. I'm kind of surprised Cam Sanders has survived this long into the offseason. I feel like he's the next 40-man casualty. But, once spring starts, you can start adding guys to the 60-day IL too. So that, frees up at least a spot with Jared Jones. So you may or may not need to do anything there. But yeah, I feel like the bullpen's pretty set. Maybe a couple battles here and there, but not really a whole lot. It's going to be Sisk, Montgomery. I said Zach right here. Nicholas, Sisk, Ramirez, Montgomery, kind of fighting for 3 spots.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I guess I don't have much to add to that. It just is what it is with them, and the thing about
your
Kyle Nicholas,
top 5, yeah, is kind of there.
Yeah, and I think they all know the roles too. It's not like you're who's going to be the closer, who's going to be set up, who's going to be this. I mean, those roles are kind of all defined. It's just who's going to be the middle relievers, and perfectly okay having 2 lefties with Soto and Montgomery, because the stuff Montgomery possesses. There's a lot of good things there. If they can harness that, he's a true weapon. Now, there's potential. He has a terrible spring, an absolute terrible spring. Excuse me.
Cough.
And what Bill Murphy's preaching to him, he has to find in AAA. There is that scenario and that exists. But absolutely okay having him and Soto on the roster as 2 lefties for this bullpen. But after that, yeah, like Kyle Nicholas, also like good stuff. I mean, this rotation, I'm sorry, this bullpen does have guys that have possessed stuff. Like Sanders is not one of those guys, but the guys that he's fighting with and the roster and stuff like Kyle Nicholas, Benoit, I mean, Harbin, like they have really good stuff. That's what you want to find in a reliever. And that's also what I'm interested, with pitchers and catchers. Like this is the first time like Bill Murphy puts on the jersey and we see him. We've heard him speak here and there or whatnot, but like he's gonna have now the effect on these pitchers. Let's see what this guy can do. Let's let Bill cook.
Yeah. Very limited playing time, but Stuff Plus does love Cam Sanders stuff, by the way. But no, you're right. I mean, I think Ramirez is on this team regardless, just because of the lack of options, and like everyone else that we've mentioned has options. And when it comes to these like 6th, 7th, 8th guys out of the bullpen, the the biggest thing is just like having those kind of guys available. So like Ramirez, I would be shocked if he doesn't break camp, just for the fact that he doesn't have options, and they aren't going to want to lose an arm. Whereas all these other guys we're talking about, Bidwell, Harbin, Nicholas, Sanders, they all have options. So like if it comes down to it where it's like, I can't really make I can't really make the choice between these two guys, you go with the guy without options.
Mm-hmm. This is where the famous, you're not always bringing the best 26 up. And that's why you also deal with, you need to last a season. You bring the best 26 up and it's, causing casualties to the guys that have these contracts and you're going to lose them. Then, well, you don't have someone to bring up in May.
Yeah, because it's pitchers and they're going to get hurt. We've all done the Sporkle quiz every year. And I mean, how many pitchers do we fill out on that thing? 20. There's 25 pitchers every year that ends up being used over the course of a major league season. So
and then you start naming random Twins relievers.
Yeah. So like if you have a healthy pitcher at the start of spring training who doesn't have options, he's coming north with you. That's just how it works.
Unless it's just totally
unless he's just
but terrible. Like you're right. And that's the thing.
Which like, Ramirez isn't that. He has his moments. I think we all kind of know who he is at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Not great, but he does possess stuff. That's why he was here.
Yeah.
And Big Bank is gone. Sadly. I'm going to shed another tear for that, by the way. All right. So, yeah, Pitchers and Catchers Report on Wednesday. Obviously, we'll have NS9 live that night, too, so we get to talk some more about it. But anything else we want to discuss and talk about before we head out of here?
I think that's everything.
Yeah, I'm good with that. 2 weeks, though, Jim. Where will you be in 2 weeks?
2 weeks, I will be 2 weeks from today, we'll be like 2 days into our spring training trip. I'll be doing Bucco Brew live on location from Bradenton. So yeah, looking forward.
And I'll be sleeping in because I won't be there that week. So it'll be you and somebody else. I get to sleep in and not get yelled at.
You know what? Maybe it'll be me and Dougie Fresh.
I'm good with that. I think the people are good with that. But yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yesterday, well, I guess 2 weeks from yesterday would have been the first game of spring training. We'll be we'll be doing shows before every shows before every game at Lecon Park. So each week, I think there's 4. Works out kind of perfect. 4 each week that we're there. But yeah, you'll be there the first week. I'll be there the second week. I'll be there the first weekend, though, because again, it's just a drive for me. So I'll be there for the first weekend. Then I'll come back for the second full week as well. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. It's exciting, and it better be warm. If you guys bring the cold, I swear to God.
I'd be fine with like 60s, but no, I
swear to God.
Yeah, I prefer like 80 and sunny. Let's go 80 and sunny.
Mid 70s is perfect. Even low-ish, 73 is fine. Below that,
80s though, make it like, because there is one day where like we take an off day. 80 and sunny would at least make for a good beach day. 70 is kind of cutting a little close there.
Yeah, as long as like the 1 year where it was like 50s. Oh, that was terrible. Outside of that, so as mentioned, we'll have NS9 Live this Wednesday. Back to the point on Friday. And I don't think anything else really in the works. You did a card pack opening. If you guys haven't checked that out yet.
So I did one with Easton Carmichael and Seth Hernandez a couple weeks ago, and did one with Gustavo Melendez over the weekend. So yeah, check that out.
Yeah. And outside of that, go ahead and subscribe, do all the fun stuff. It's baseball season, so we're absolutely ramping up. And just to tease it again, it's coming. I don't know, but we have some big news, coming. I know. Again, I gave you dates. If you saw the story, I gave you dates to look at your calendar for. If you want to go to PNC Park, circle those dates. We'll tell you shortly why you're doing that. But what's cooking? I don't know. Something is though. But also that
quick update too before we leave. FanDuel over under win total up to 77.5. 77.5.
Come on,
still
Ben.
Feel like that's a little low.
It is. I feel like that's good value. Even
it has gone up though.
Yeah,
has gone up.
For all
I bet it when it was at 74.5.
Smart man. But I still think it's safe. I think you can bet over that and feel good.
Ben's never done that before with the Pirates.
He has. That's a good point. However, he's also never signed a free agent worth $30 million.
It's true. That's true.
He's never signed a free agent worth $7 million.
Good point.
All right. We are out of here. We'll see you guys later. We love you all. Bye-bye.
See you guys. All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.